I get asked all the time, Travis, can you show us how to build a deck around a pool? Well, here you go. Here's how I do it. I did this in about 3 days by myself. I like to start with a mock frame. Just kind of helps me lay out everything in my footer locations so I can go ahead and get started.
We're out here working on this deck. When you build a deck around the pool, it's really hard to square up because you really don't have access to two of the corners. It's very difficult, especially if you're solo. That's why I love to do this on beams. It just makes it easier for me. But if you can get like two of your corners square, you ought to be okay. But for this deck, I need a center beam, right? So I have to make sure that my joist, this deck is exactly 24 foot wide. And I have to make sure, like I have to be perfect on my joist because I'm gonna have a triple ply beam right there. And I have to have them land, my 12 foot 2x8s land right there on top of the beam. So I gotta make sure I have enough meat there for them to land. Otherwise it's not gonna be bearing anything. Anyways, that's where this comes into play. I'm just measuring and making sure, you know, I got my frame kind of sort of built on the ground and then just measuring to make sure I get my holes in the right location. So I don't normally do decks around pools. Be real with you, by the time you pay me to get the materials, build the deck, you might as well put an in-ground pool with a concrete patio. So that's where my pricing is, and I very rarely do pools around decks. But this has really beautiful view, doesn't it? That's incredible. So if you're digging holes and you know you're going to be digging holes on a client's property, look at what they pull out of their dirt pile. Like, look at that big old rock. So just know when you're digging holes, you're going to hit big old rocks like that, and you're going to have to pull them out of your holes when you do a deck. So just something, you know, when you're out there looking at a job, just pay attention. Oh, you're right next to a mountain? Yeah, you're going to be digging rocks. Anyways, this is pretty. I love that. Ooh.
Most of my decks here in Tennessee, I do set post in the ground. I prefer to use a 6x6, and I prefer to dry pack the post in. Dry packing is a great method. I just take my tamp rod after pouring the concrete in the hole and pack it tight. You allow the weather to cure the concrete, and if you were to ever move these posts, you're going to have a machine to do it. Trust me, I've had to do it before. It's quite aggravating. Dry packing's the way to go. You're also going to see me notching the outside for the beams. I get that measurement with a laser, and I actually set my laser up on the pool to make sure my deck boards line up perfectly underneath that lip.
So I got all the posts set. Super excited. This one's going to have that triple, like I said. All the rest are just going to have a double right here. And this is kind of how I do it. I'm also going to put another post right here. And you're going to see me do that in a second. But you can kind of see that's a solid rock down there. And I bet you it's a rock like that because I could not get up underneath it. It's done. So I'm not going to try to cut it out or anything like that. He's going to fill this with rock. And I'm just going to tap con that post into that. It'll be fine. So we'll be perfect. Anyways, doesn't this look awesome?